Hello lovely people, welcome to Anthizo Designs. My name is Florence. In this video, I'll be showing you how I make a simple pencil skirt with waistband. So if you're interested in seeing how I do that, please keep on watching. Thank you. I'm going to start with my basic skirt pattern. So from the knee length, I'm going to mark up 2.5 inches. That is going to determine where I want the pencil shaping to start from, and then I'll draw a straight line. Next thing I'm going to do is to determine how penciled I want this skirt to be. So for me, I'm going to take it 1.5 inches, that's from that straight hip line. This is where the shaping is going to be, and then connect it back to the hip and the waist. Now you can increase this if you want, but this is going to just be for comfort. It's not too penciled or too shaped inside. I'm also going to curve any sharp lines that might happen around that hip area. Next thing I'm going to do is increase the length of the skirt. So I'm going to be using a long length for this skirt, but if you're using a shorter length, just increase it by like 5 inches or however short or long you want it to be, but don't let it be you know more penciled than where we've already shaped it at the knee. I hope you understand. Just really straight line all the way down from the knee shape into your skirt length. That way you won't have any issues with walking. I'm also going to just mark out that little shaping I did at the back to give my skirt a nice fitting. Now I'm going to mark the waistband, that is from the waist curve on the skirt. I'm just going to mark about 1.5 inches for my band. That is how wide I want the band to be. You can use 2 inches or even less than that if you want. I'm just going to use that shape of the waist to determine how I curve it from the 1.5 inches. I hope you understand. I'm just going to follow it the normal way so that I will have the band there, and then I'm just gonna rule the line using my cold ruler because the skirt is not straight. Now I'm going to add my notches so that when I'm joining the skirt to a band to the skirt, I will not have issues. Next, I'm going to determine where I want my slit to start, so about 3 inches above the knee shaping, and then I'm just going to mark that. I'm using an overlap slit, so do how you want. Next I'm going to do is to trace the band on another sheet of paper because I don't want this band to have the dot, so that I can eliminate it before cutting it off on the main skirt. So I'm just going to trace that out to the front and the back, and then I will remove the dots. Also, don't forget to transfer your notches, which is very important. Next, I'm going to close the dot on the band. As you can see now, it's not aligned anymore as I've closed the dot. So that little peeking out place, I'm going to make it slope well. It's called truing. I'll do this for the front and then for the back. Close the dot and then reshape the band. I'll do the same thing on the main skirt too, so that by the time I join the dots, I won't have issues or something shorter or longer. And then reshape it and use my tracing wheel to show how the dot is going to, the true shape of the dots. I hope that makes sense. Here are my bands. I'm going to pin the darts close, or sorry, I'm going to tape them closed because I'm not going to need it when I'm cutting. So that way I've eliminated the dart, and then I'm going to notch that part where the dart is closed so that it can also match the main skirt. Here I'm just going to indicate that the band at the center of it is on fold so that I don't cut two pieces of that. And then as you can see, I'm redrawing the notches. Here are the pattern pieces together, so now I'm just going to cut and sew. As you can see, my slit is an overlapping slit, but if yours isn't, then it should just be the same length as or the same width as your zipper allowance. I'm going to cut the front skirt on fold. I also increased it to the length I wanted because I don't want to waste paper. So I'll do the same for the back. I'm cutting it on fold. I need two pieces of those. Here I'm just going to transfer my notches and then draw all the darts on the fabric. I'll repeat the same process for the lining fabric too. I'm just going to cut the center front on fold, cut two pieces of the back, and then transfer all my notches. Also, the lining is about 2 inches shorter than the main fabric. As for the band, I'm going to cut 4 pieces for the back and then 2 pieces for the front. Remember that the front band is on fold so that I can have a band for the lining and a band for the main fabric. I'm going to iron fusible interfacing on all the bands. So I have 2 pieces of the front and then I have 2 pieces of each side of the back. First thing I'm going to do is sew all the dots. Next thing I'm going to do is hem the lining, all the pieces of the lining, because the lining is about 2 inches shorter than the main fabric. So this way I won't have to think about it when I join it to the main fabric. Next thing I'm going to do is iron all the dots. Now I'm just going to iron everywhere I've sewn on just so that it can have a nice relaxed look. So here I'm just gonna join the band to the lining as one part of the band to the lining, and then join the other band to the main fabric. I'm going to pin it using all the notch marks that I've transferred from my pattern, and then sew all of them using my seam allowance. I'm just going to cut little notches around that seam line, not through it, and then do the same thing for the main fabric so that the band and the skirt will relax well with each other. I'll repeat the same process for the back pieces and then iron the seams flat. For the front, I'm going to join the lining and the main fabric right sides together and then just sew the top of the band using the seam allowance allocated. So I'm just going to sew that, also make notch marks on it, and then next thing I'm going to do is shift all of that seam allowance to the lining side and then top stitch a very small top stitching all the way to the end. So this way um, the lining or the lining band won't be peeking through when you iron it. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, as you can see, this is a close-up look of the top stitching. It's not too fat, and then on the other side all the seam allowance is going towards the lining. So this way when I iron it, the lining won't peek through on the other side. So this is the back. This is what the back of the front should look like. And then on the other side you can see the band and the skirt attached to each other. So now I'm just gonna sew the lining to the main fabric. I'm just going to stitch it all around all the way down. As you can see, the lining is shorter, that way it's not, I don't have to hem it again. So I'm just going to stitch all the way around, and then you can do this for this back also. You can repeat the same process for the back, and then when you have two pieces of the back, that is the lining and the main fabric will now become one piece. So you have two pieces of the back, then you're going to pin where you have notched for the end of your zipper. That's where you want the zipper to end. You're just going to pin that place, and also pin where you want your slit to start. Right, so even if you're having an overlapping slit, or you know, a straight open slit, you can just still pin it and then sew that little place then between the end of the zipper and the end of the zipper and the start of the slit. So here is my zipper already fixed. I have a video on how I fix a visible zipper. I'll put the link in the description box, so please check it out. Also, I overlocked the side seams of the front and the back so that I won't have any fraying fabric. Next thing I'm going to do is measure the hip and then measure the waist to just make sure that my seam allowance is gonna be accurate. I'm also going to do this at the back, measure the hip and then measure the waist so that the seam allowance, like I said, is accurate, or even if I have a little bit of excess, I know how to take it out. Now I'm just gonna join my front to my back piece and then pin them where they're supposed to match. That's the waist, the hip, the knee. I have notches there and all the way to the end, and then sew all around using the seam allowance that is left. After this, I'm going to press all the seams open. As you can see, I've pressed the seams open, and then the last thing with this skirt is to hem it. So I'm just going to hem it using my 1-inch seam allowance or hemming allowance that I have added, and we are done. This is the finished look, guys. This is how I achieved my skirt with a waistband. As you can see, very nice, flawless and beautiful looking. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.